Madness at the Darkmoon Faire is coming soon, so it's time to review the priest cards. First up, we have the 2-mana spell Insight, which draws you a minion, and if it's corrupted, it reduces its cost by 2. Wow, what a great card. One of the themes of this review is going to be, holy crap, did Priest get a ton of good cards. This is basically comparable, again, if you've been watching these reviews, there's so many cards like it, to a Novice Engineer, except when it's corrupted, it basically costs 0 mana, and it allows you to bank that mana and play something really big 2 turns earlier, essentially. In a class where they barely ever have anything to do on turns, like the early turns. I think very, very often you're fine to just do nothing, not play this on turn 2, and when you play it on turn 4, it sets up for maybe a very powerful turn 5 or turn 6, depending on if you have the coin. And it's not too hard to corrupt because Priest has a bunch of expensive cards. I think this is just an amazing card. It is so good corrupted. It is okay not corrupted, which is really important. And I think it's just a 5 out of 5 across the board. Holy crap. I think Priest is going to have a very good deck, and I'll show you why. Because there's another card, Fairground Fool. 3 mana, 4/3, taunt. With corrupt, gain +4 health. Again, of the set and of the classes, I would say corrupt is a thing that fits Priest and Druid very well for different reasons. Priest, because early on, if they have cheap cards, they tend to play bigger stuff later, so they are fine with like not doing too much early. And Druid because of ramp. So here you have a 3 mana 4/3 taunt. Not terrible if you're really taking a lot of damage as an aggro deck. You just play this, and at least it's a taunt, so it like slows things down a bit. But most of the time, you let this get corrupted, and you get a 3 mana 4/7 taunt, which is insanely good, just absurdly good. And if you're playing a res deck, it brings back the corrupted minion. These are 2 separate minions, essentially. So if you corrupt it, it brings back the corrupted taunt. It's not like it's undone or something. So a lot of times, you play this early minion, and then if it gets rezzed, you're happy, because it's a freaking 4/7 taunt. It's defensive, it's solid. I think this card is a 5. Again, 5 out of 5 across both. I think this will be in many, many Priest decks, if not every Priest deck. It's very, very strong. Speaking of strong cards, we got Goon, the Blood God. Battlecry, draw 2 cards that cost health instead of mana. Holy crap, more mana cheating. Very, very, very powerful card. Priest is a class that often has, decent amount of health. Later game against a control matchup, this could just suddenly be an enormous swing turn. You play this plus like Soul Mirror or something. Just absurdly good. I don't think this is as good as the other cards. I'd probably give this it's still really, really good. Maybe a 4 out of 5 and then a 5 out of 5 in meta relevance. I think this card is super good. Maybe it's hard to say. I'm going to give it 4 out of 5 in card quality. Because I think sometimes it locks you into cards that you can't play because your health is too low. But a lot of the time, this is just 8 mana, play this, and then get something even better. Blood of Gahoon. This card is not as good as the other ones. It's a 9 mana 8/8 taunt, which is really important. It makes it a lot easier to play on 9 mana. And at the end of turn, you summon a 5/5 copy of a minion in your deck. It's great for like res effects or minions that, kind of have good death rattles, that kind of thing. Like say you got a 5 and a 5/5 Kartut Defender, that'd be pretty good. Or a Katrina Muerte or something like that. I think it's a solid card. I think it's really, really important that it has taunt. If it didn't, it would be so much worse. I'd probably give it a 3 out of 5 in card quality, and I could see this in like a res priest or something that would probably still be like a tier 2 or tier 3. So I'm going to give it a 4 out of 5 in meta relevance. Idol of Yasharaj. This is an 8 mana card. Summons a 10/10 copy of a minion in your deck. Basically guarantees that you get like a decent minion. Maybe it has a death rattle or something like the Blood of Gahoon. It could also be a Stone Tusk Boar, so with charge, you get a 10/10. I'm sure that's more of a meme, but something to consider. I think this is a good card. I'm going to give it a 3 out of 5. Oops, excuse me. I'm going to give it a 3 out of 5 in card quality and maybe a 3 out of 5 in meta relevance. I'm not sure you play this. Next up, we have another crazy, super, super powerful card. This is the 3 mana Nazmani Bloodweaver, which is a 3 mana 2/5, solid stat line, that after you cast a spell, reduce the cost of a random card in your hand by 1. It's another amazing card. Like, Priest has a lot of spell synergies. It has cards that generate new spells. I think if this sticks, it just like pays for itself really quickly. Then this is a 4 out of 5 and a 5 out of 5. It's a very good card. It's not like oh my god, this is crazy broken, like the card after this, but it is very good, and it will be in a tier 1 deck because I think Priest has a lot of tools to become a tier 1 class. Next up we have Palm Reading. This card's crazy. 3 mana, discover a spell, so it's kind of similar to Renew, except instead of healing, you reduce the cost of spells in your hand by 1. Priest has this and this, both of which discount cards, and then it has the 2 mana 2/3 that creates new spells if you cast them on a minion. So you can just like pop off with this. You play something like this, it also discounts the spell it discovers. It's very easy to imagine a turn where Priest has, say, like 6 mana, and they just kind of start going crazy with spells. Maybe 6 or 7 mana. I think it's very strong. You're going to be seeing this a lot. I'm going to give 5 out of 5 to it for both. I think you see this in a lot of Priest decks. It's very good. They're pushing this kind of spell archetype, but I think this is good in most decks anyway. Very strong. What isn't strong is Auspicious Spirits. A 4 mana, summon a random 4-cost minion, corrupt, summon a 7-cost minion instead. 4 mana, summon a random 4-cost minion. It's terrible. It's completely trash. Maybe you play this if you get it randomly generated, but you never put that in your deck. 4 mana, summon a 7-cost minion instead. Well, you got to play a 5-cost card, so you can't play this on 4. You have to wait. So that means you have to play this on 6. 6 mana, summon a random 7-cost minion is okay. Obviously, it doesn't cost you 6 mana, but turn 6, you play 4 mana, then you have 2 mana to do whatever else to summon a random 7-cost. Is that worth it? No, it's not. There's too many kind of conditionals, and on its own, it's bad. Even when it's corrupted, it's not like broken or super powerful. I think this is an easy one across the board. Another amazing card for Priest, the Nameless One. This is a Spellbreaker on steroids. Battlecry, choose a minion, become a 4/4 copy of it, then silence it. So you basically always get the 4/4 stat line. Sometimes you're going to get something even better, like a Death Rattle, and you silence a minion. So it has more stats than Spellbreaker. It's often going to pick up Death Rattles and buffs and crazy stuff. Maybe you steal some Librams, which you don't want, but maybe you deny them the Librams. There's just so many situations where silence is really good, and it's more rare than it used to be, especially in certain classes, not so much in Priest. I think every Priest deck is going to run this. This is an easy 5 across the board. It's just a very solid card, very flexible, and very strong. But they do still get some crappy cards, like Auspicious Spirits. Fortune Teller is also quite bad. It's a 5 mana 3/3 mech. Battlecry, gain +1/+1 for each spell in your hand. Even if you have like 8 spells, and this is like a 5 mana 11/11, you're not gonna have it on turn. You're not gonna have that many spells on turn 5 necessarily. Oftentimes, you're gonna end up having a couple cards, and this is gonna be like a 5 mana 6/6 taunt, 5 mana 5/5 taunt. That's not that great. There's lots of better stuff you can do. I don't think you run this. I think this is a 1 across the board. It's just not very good. There's situations where you might have no spells in your hand. Not likely for Priest, but you know, it needs to be basically like an 8/8 to be worth it. And that requires you to have 5 spells in hand. Not likely. That's it for Priest, though. They, I would say, are a huge winner this expansion. They got a lot of good stuff. I expect to see a lot of Priest in the future, which is a bit unfortunate because I'm not the biggest Priest fan. But if you enjoyed this review, please consider subscribing. I'm going to be doing more Hearthstone content in the future. And thanks you for watching. I'll see you guys next time.